of the Sit Down with Malik Wright, presented by First Star Logistics. As always, we're live from the First Star Logistics studio, and on this segment, we'll be discussing my somewhat controversial quarterback list. Daniel, I know you certainly have your thoughts on it, so I'll let you kick this one off.
So let me go through your list for the people, Malik. We'll start at number 10. You had Deshaun Watson. Number 9, Dak Prescott. Number 8, Trevor Lawrence. Number 7, Jalen Hurts. 6, Lamar Jackson. 5, Justin Herbert. 4, Aaron Rodgers. 3, Josh Allen. 2, Patrick Mahomes. And number 1, Joe Burrow. We're going to get to the top, but really quickly, let's go through it all. Deshaun Watson over some other quarterbacks like Kirk Cousins, over some other quarterbacks like, Kyler Murray. Talk to me. Why is Deshaun Watson at 10?
Well, I think when you look at Deshaun Watson, right, this is the player I'm talking about. Let's start off by saying that. The player Deshaun Watson is an absolute freak. He's an absolute unicorn out there on the football field. We saw what he was able to do with the days when he was with the Houston Texans. Now, he was suspended for 11 games. Obviously, he didn't play his last season out with the Houston Texans. So I think some people forgot how good he actually is. It's hard to get in rhythm when you obviously miss that amount of games. I think that he's better than Kyler Murray. I think Kyler Murray is one of the most overhyped quarterbacks in the league. And some people could say Cliff Kingsbury was holding him back. I beg to differ. Kirk Cousins, we know what he is at best. Kirk Cousins is a good regular season quarterback. He's a game manager. He's a guy that's going to put up good regular season numbers, but he's never going to be the guy that's going to uplift the talent around him or even make the players around him better. Much more a product of the players that he does have around him. When I look at a guy like Deshaun Watson, he truly does make the players around him better. And to be quite frank with you, Deshaun Watson will be a lot higher up on this list too, had it not been for those questions about can he return to form and stuff like that. Like me personally, Deshaun Watson at his best is better than Dak Prescott, in my opinion. Deshaun Watson at his best is better than a lot of other quarterbacks potentially. I think he's right on the cusp of that tier of the elite, such as the top 7, top 5 quarterbacks in the National Football League. Now, will he return to that? That remains to be seen just yet. But I don't think it's out of the question that Deshaun Watson's over Kyler Murray, over Kirk Cousins. And I don't think it's out of the question that he could return to form and find himself back as a top 7, top 6 quarterback in the league.
So I've got some more questions for you. First off, Lamar Jackson over Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
You got a lot of people saying, well, Jalen Hurts made the Super Bowl last year. Well, Jalen Hurts is this. Jalen Hurts is that. They went 14-2 last year. Why do you have Lamar over Jalen Hurts?
Lamar Jackson, former league MVP. Lamar Jackson consistently puts up stellar numbers. Jalen Hurts had one standout season. I need to see him do it again and again over time and be consistent with it. I feel like the coordinator that Lamar Jackson had might have also been holding him back a little bit like that. It was a very run-happy style of offense. I'm excited to see him take the next step with the new offensive coordinator that they got. What's the guy's name from
Todd Monken.
Todd Monken. I'm excited to see him him take a next step offensively speaking and in the passing game as a quarterback in the National Football League. I just think that Lamar Jackson's full body of work is better than Jalen Hurts.
So the next one, and once again, I can go through all these, but Aaron Rodgers, number 4 over a quarterback like Justin Herbert, 100%. Over a former MVP, Lamar Jackson. Yeah. Why is Aaron Rodgers, new situation, new team, why is he at 4?
Beautiful. Let's talk about it. I think when we talk about playing the quarterback position effectively, I think that Aaron Rodgers is still one of the best in the league. Let's not forget that. He had lackluster talent with him his last year in Green Bay, and he still performed very well when he had his primary receiver in Devontae Adams. We saw the numbers those two were doing together. When you surround Aaron Rodgers with talent, great things come of those things. Aaron Rodgers is still an absolute beast at the quarterback position, multiple-time MVP award winner, consistently ranks at the topper echelon of the league. I think that people forget how good Aaron Rodgers is because of that last year in Green Bay. Now, I think that might have been a little bit of him wanting to be out of Green Bay. Could you say maybe he was regressing a little bit? Sure, we can say that. But I'm not ready to say that until I see him this year with the with the New York Football Jets and with his new team and seeing all those plethora of weapons that he has and what he's able to accomplish with them. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility of me saying he's better. I think we can see Aaron Rodgers contend for MVP again this season. I think that when you talk about a guy like him and Justin Herbert and even him over Lamar Jackson, I think that when it comes to playing the quarterback position, Aaron Rodgers is still of the elites, and he does it at a very elite level. Justin Herbert has some things in his game that I think he still needs to work out. He is a very, very good quarterback, trust me. And I think that with maybe a year or two, he can definitely supplant Aaron Rodgers, on this list, if you will. But I think that Aaron Rodgers is still firmly where he is.
Yeah, and when I look at this, I'm a huge believer in Justin Herbert this year, but also people got to realize like Aaron Rodgers has Garrett Wilson, and
Yeah.
Garrett Wilson is a guy that can. I'm not going to say be his Devontae Adams, but Garrett Wilson, I'm not going to be surprised if he gets 1,300, 1,400 yards this year. Aaron Rodgers has some talent on that team, and I would not be surprised once again. Garrett Wilson, he's the name I want to keep an eye on. I want to go back a little bit, but let's talk about it. Number one, Joe Burrow over Patrick Mahomes. Everybody's calling for your head on Twitter. Malik, Joe Burrow over Mahomes. Why?
Let me just start off by saying this. Whenever you go do something that's against the grain, people are going to call you an idiot. People are going to have their opinions. Guys, it's a matter of an opinion, right? It's my opinion towards it. You guys can call me an idiot, and that's your opinion. You're well within your right to do so. You don't have to agree with me when it comes to my quarterback list. And I don't have to agree with you when it comes to your quarterback list. I'm not going to be a robot. I'm not going to go with the public masses and say exactly what everybody is saying. I'm going to say something that I actually genuinely believe. I think Joe Burrow is the best at playing the quarterback position in the National Football League, because when I look at a guy like like Joe Burrow uplifts the talent around him. It does not matter who he's throwing to. He gets the most out of them. Patrick Mahomes, to not of any fault of his own, has been blessed in a situation in which he's throwing to the likes of Tyreek Hill. He's throwing to the likes of a security blanket who's arguably the best tight end in the National Football League, which is Travis Kelce. He's throwing to so many different weapons, right? That is able to open up the game. Let's not even forget, he was blessed to sit a year behind Alex Smith. He was blessed to be drafted in a situation in which he was, his head coach is one of the greatest offensive play callers in NFL history. You don't believe me? Go look at his days with the Philadelphia Eagles and Andy Reid. So I think that while Patrick Mahomes has a ridiculous arm talent, why I think Patrick Mahomes is ridiculously athletic, and I think the guy is an absolute freak at the quarterback position. It's like one of those things. If you have the opportunity to pick a player, right, to start a franchise with, I don't know if Patrick Mahomes works on all 32 NFL teams. It's like this. If you have a child that wants to play football, you have a son that wants to play football, and you're trying to show him the do's, the don'ts of the quarterback position. Are you going to show him Patrick Mahomes' film, or are you going to show him Joe Burrow's film? Now, you might show him Patrick Mahomes' film because he might like the action plays, but if you're actually trying to teach him something, are you going to show him Patrick Mahomes' film, or are you going to show him Joe Burrow's film? You might be saying, what the hell are you talking about right now? What I'm saying is Patrick Mahomes is such a special talent. He does things that defy normalcy, right? Throwing the sidearm throws, making the no-look passes, doing all the things, using his, having the rocket arm that he has, having that get him out of a lot of ridiculous situations he might find himself in. Whereas to Joe Burrow, in his game, he doesn't have that bazooka arm. He doesn't have the no-look pass. It's not all of the flashiness with his game, but it's about playing the quarterback position effectively. And that's what Joe Burrow does. Joe Burrow prides himself on being the smartest guy in the room, prides himself on being the smartest player on the field. And that's what separates him, his preparation, the way he prepares, the way he's able to take the short passes when things are looking bad, the way he's able to just dice a defense up. If you're in zone, he'll find the open hole on your defense. It's what makes Jamar Chase even a special wide receiver. Those guys just understand route concepts and, the leverage of a defensive backs. And I could talk about that all day, but I think when you put those two on the same exact team, man, it's fireworks. Now, you could say the same thing about Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is surrounded by a plethora of talent, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase. But here's the one thing about Joe Burrow. When Joe Burrow got to LSU, he struggled. He struggled, man. He struggled mightily. No one was talking about Jamar Chase. No one was talking about Justin Jefferson. The number one wide receiver at LSU was Terrace Marshall Jr. He worked with Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, and those two dudes became two. Now they're two of the best wide receivers in the National Football League. I saw Joe Burrow work with a guy in the NFL like Trent Irwin, and lo and behold, this dude became a household name here in Cincinnati. This guy was catching touchdown passes, what it felt like almost every single week. He filled in for Jamar Chase at a very adequate level. And that's something we're not talking about. I remember when Joe Burrow was thrown to the likes of Stanley Morgan his rookie year. I remember when Joe Burrow was throwing to lackluster wide receivers and he was getting the most out of it. Now, he always had T. Higgins, but even then, T. Higgins, the knock on T was T wasn't able to create separation. He was a jump ball wide receiver is what people were saying. He was able to get the most out of these wide receivers. Not even just the wide receivers. He got C.J. Uzomah paid. He got Hayden Hurst paid. And if he's able to stay healthy, he's going to get Irv Smith paid. Joe Burrow's able to uplift the talent around him and make them better. And I'm not saying Patrick Mahomes doesn't have that ability, but for me, Patrick Mahomes, and I think that this was one of the knocks too, it seems like he doesn't do a good enough job of building rapport with his wide receivers outside of his star wide receivers. And that's something that you wanted to see evolve in his game. Now, last year, I have to credit him. Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Juju Smith-Schuster, those guys did perform and those guys did do well. And it was sort of like a shock because that was the next evolution in Mahomes' game that people wanted to see. But at the same time, I just think that with the handicapness that Joe Burrow's been dealing with a little bit since he got into the National Football League, with not always having, the best plays called consistently and not necessarily having the best game plan to work for him, he's found a way to put up a winner. He's found a way, whether it's audibling out of plays and stuff like that. And that's what the Jack Taylor was talking about too, how much of a grasp Joe Burrow has of the offense. So I don't know. When I look at it personally, and this could just be personal preference, I want a guy I know for a fact can probably fit on all 32 NFL teams and get the most out of all the talent around him. And to me, that's Joe Burrow. That's why he's my number one quarterback in the National Football League. Take accolades aside. I don't give a damn about accolades, to be honest with you, because football is a team sport. For me, Joe Burrow is the best at playing the quarterback position in the National Football League. And again, that might be something, I might be playing the long game here. That might be something that people won't realize until years later down the road, but I'm willing to die on that sword.
I can't add much to that. You broke it down. So, and I mean, I agree. I look at the way that we're nitpicking too. These two are in a tier of themselves. Josh Allen, isn't quite on that tier yet. So when I look at these two, I completely agree with you. Joe Burrow is the best at playing the quarterback position. And Patrick Mahomes, he's got the hardware to prove it. So we're playing the long game, definitely. So Malik, I want to circle back one last guy. I want to circle back to Trevor Lawrence. I want to hear, your opinion. You had him at number 8 over Dak Prescott, over Deshaun Watson. Why is Trevor Lawrence at 8, and what do you see with him as a quarterback?
See, I'm playing a little bit of a long-term game with him. I think that Trevor Lawrence was once again one of those guys who's going to get the most out of the talent around him. I think that Trevor Lawrence, he dealt with some interesting situations when he first got into the league with Urban Meyer as his coach and stuff like that. But I feel like now with Doug Peterson, he's kind of headed to the right, on the right path. Trevor Lawrence, to me, when I saw the way he was able to rally his team back against the Chargers and how he was able to just get his team to rally around him and how he didn't fold. And that was my one big question about Trevor Lawrence coming into the league. When faced with difficult situations and pressure situations, could he get the most out of his teammates? Could he get the most out of his receivers? And could we see them perform at a high level? We saw it, man. We saw it. So yeah, I think Trevor Lawrence for me is going to shock a lot of people. He's going to continue to take growth, take the necessary steps to be great. I really do believe in him. If you guys like more video content like this, do us a favor, give this video a like, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and turn on post notifications so you don't miss when we go live from the First Star Logistics studio.